If you're like me and you work in your garage, you understand the need for valuable floor and bench space along with organization. Stick around to gather some ideas on how you can make these simple and affordable changes to upgrade your bit and clamp storage. First thing you need to do whenever making over a new shop area is to completely clean it out, so I removed all of my clamps one by one and followed with the tools. For some reason, a homeowner before me thought it was a wise idea to put a random 2x4 in the wall and fill all the screw holes, making it a pain to remove. After finally wedging it off, I fixed the wall up with a little bit of drywall mud and painted over it with matching paint to avoid redoing the entire thing. I used this cutoff of 3/4 inch MDF from my workbench and cut it to 24 inches by 24 inches. I marked out grid squares at approximately 1.5 inches to make sure there will be enough space for any size bit I plan on getting in the future. I also made sure to add enough space to grow, as I feel I'll probably get quite a few more. I used this Milescraft drill guide and a 5/8 inch wood owl bit to start boring out a bunch of holes at the corners of each grid square. You might be wondering how these holes will fit any sort of bit. They're actually pre-drilled to fit these Rockler bit holders. They're like $8.99 for a pack of 10. I also wanted a shelf for a set of Forstner bits, so I cut another strip off the scrap MDF at approximately 3.5 inches wide to fit a groove on the previous panel. MDF, unlike plywood, is actually made to proper dimensions, and my 3/4 inch straight bit made a perfect fit dado for the shelf. I used a 3/8 inch bit to drill stopped holes using the positive stop on the drill guide. I applied glue to the channel and used a 4x4 as a barrier to hammer the shelf into place without damaging it. I also cut another similar sized shelf, then glued and nailed it to the bottom. After everything was assembled, I threw a few coats of flat black paint just to match my shop. Mounting was easy, as I just drove 3 2.5 inch construction screws through the middle of the panel into the stud. I couldn't wait anymore and just started throwing bits in the panel, and I'm sure the order will change often, but that's a great thing about these bit holder insert thingies. After I was happy with the bit storage panel, I started on the parallel clamp storage. I had a scrap piece of 3/4 inch ply which was filled with all kinds of defects. I just winged it by cutting 4 triangles and 2 smaller rectangles on a miter saw. Clamped the pieces together and drove some 16 gauge nails through the side to secure it in place. The white stuff on the ply is actually just drywall spackle that I sanded flush. I plan on painting these black as well, so the defects needed to be filled. While the glue dried, I cut down more scrap MDF for the base, which would help to support the weight. I marked out lines for mounting screw locations just to keep things nice and even. After those were marked, I thought it would be cool to add angled dowel rods for smaller clamps in the middle. The drill guide came in clutch again by making it super easy to drill 2 70-degree holes to mount the dowels. After the dowels were in place, I countersunk some pilot holes to temporarily drive some screws through. This will help mark where I needed to place the drywall anchors. The screws act as dowel center finders rather than measuring to keep things even. I then painted everything black, secured it all into place with screws, and tested the strength by throwing these heavy-ass clamps on them. For the final clamp storage panel, I grabbed this nasty scrap piece of particle board that I had from forever ago. I filled all the defects and holes with spackle and sanded it smooth after it dried. I'm honestly taking all these steps to avoid buying new materials and to make more space in my scrap pile as well. Before painting, I laid out a few clamps to get an idea of placement, then roughly marked their locations. Once again, the drill guide swooped in for another wind to drill some more holes, as I was going to use the corresponding dowel sizes to hang the clamps. I cut the dowels down to size on the miter saw, added glue to their butts, and hammered them into place. A fresh coat of paint really jazzed it up, and I used the same method to mount to the wall as I did on the other clamp panel. It's always satisfying to see something which has once been a cluttered mess turn into an organized masterpiece. I really love having everything tucked away and organized, especially since it was nearly all scrap material and things I had laying around the shop. Love it or hate it, let me know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe for more woodworking content, tool reviews, and ideas. Thanks for watching, and happy building!